I've known my ex-wife since we were both 10 years old. She was, and still is, my twin sister's best friend. The three of us were practically inseparable growing up, always together like a little trio. At 14, my ex and I started dating. By the time we were 23, we got married. 5 years into the marriage, things fell apart. She came to me one day and confessed to having a month-long affair with a coworker. According to her, the guilt had become unbearable, and she had to tell me. We tried to work through it. For a few months, I really tried, because despite everything, I still loved her. But it became painfully clear that trust, once broken like that, is incredibly hard to rebuild. I just couldn't look at her the same way anymore. She told me she still loved me. Said she'd wait as long as it took and prove that I was the only one who ever mattered to her. I wanted to believe her, but sometimes love just isn't enough. Some damage can't be undone. We never had kids. 3 years after our divorce, I met the woman who's now my wife. She was 38 at the time. We dated for 2 years and got married. She's everything I ever dreamed of in a partner: loving, supportive, grounded, and more than I ever thought I deserved. Meanwhile, my ex never really recovered from our breakup. My sister, who has always remained close to her, told me she eventually quit her job and began working at a church. Over the years, even as I built a life with my wife, my ex kept trying to reconnect. She reached out repeatedly, saying she still loved me and wanted another chance. On the day of my wedding, she pulled me aside and said, "I'll never love anyone else. This is the last time I'll bother you, but I'll wait however long it takes." And to her credit, she meant it. According to my sister, she hasn't been with anyone since. Fast forward to now, I've been happily married to my wife for 7 years. We have 2 amazing kids. Our daughter is 7, and our son is 3. Just recently, my sister came over with her own kids so the cousins could play together. While my wife was out picking up lunch, my sister pulled me aside and shared some news I didn't expect. My ex has been diagnosed with a terminal illness. She has less than 6 months to live. She refused treatment and said she wants to spend her remaining time living fully, not in a hospital. One of the things on her bucket list? She wants to feel like my wife again, not sexually, not even romantically. She just wants to be around me. She still lives in the same house we once shared and wants me to come by sometimes. Maybe sit with her. Maybe hold her occasionally. That's it. I told my sister I couldn't do it. As harmless as it might sound, to me, that crosses a line. It feels like emotional cheating. She kept pleading, saying I should at least go and hear my ex out. We argued, not yelling, but it got heated. The kids were in the next room with my niece when my wife came back. My sister explained everything to her. My wife looked upset but calm. After my sister left, we had a long talk. My wife already knew the full history between me and my ex. She listened quietly and finally said that while she's not thrilled about the idea, she understands why my ex would want this. She told me she wouldn't be angry if I decided to visit her regularly. And this is exactly why I say my wife is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love her more than anyone in this world. She's made me happier than I ever thought possible. Even during the best years with my ex, I was never this content. She knows I won't cheat. She knows my heart belongs to her. As for my ex, I don't hate her. But I don't love her anymore, either. There's nothing romantic lingering between us. Still, hearing that someone you once loved is dying, that hits you somewhere deep. To be honest, whatever love I once had for her, it faded a long time ago. After my sister told me about her condition, I found myself stuck in a strange in-between space. Half of me felt there was no point in reopening that door. The other half couldn't shake the thought that I might regret not seeing her one last time. I hadn't had a real conversation with her since my wedding day, and that wasn't exactly a pleasant moment for either of us. Sure, I'd bumped into her at the store now and then, but nothing more than awkward hellos. And even though she broke my heart years ago, part of me still believes she deserves to find some peace before she goes. Still, I couldn't ignore the weight of what this could mean for my marriage. My wife told me she was okay with me seeing her, and I believe she meant it. But feelings can shift after the fact, and the last thing I want is to jeopardize what we've built. This life, my wife, our 2 kids, the peace in our home, it means more to me than anything. I wasn't even excited about the idea of visiting. It felt heavy. Confusing. So, I asked for advice. Some people said I should stay away entirely, that there was too much risk and not enough reason. A few suggested I offer help from a distance. Maybe drop off groceries or send a meal. Some even recommended a visit, with my wife present, to keep everything transparent. They reminded me, I owe her nothing. If I wanted to be kind, that would already be more than what's required. Others took a more emotional angle. They felt for her. Said the last decade of her life must have been filled with regret. One commenter admitted it might sound harsh, but encouraged me to think through the consequences, especially for my wife. My ex may be dying, but I'm the one who will live with whatever comes next. And then there were those who questioned the entire situation. Some even wondered if my ex was faking it to pull me back into her orbit. She kept the house you bought together, one person pointed out. Now she wants to pretend you're still her husband in that house. I couldn't deny the weirdness of it. In response, I want to clarify, my wife is my first priority, always. I didn't even tell her at first, my sister did. But my ex never tried to win me back after my wedding. She promised not to interfere, and up until now, she's honored that. The update, 19 days later. It's been nearly 3 weeks since I first posted. A lot has happened. And I want to thank everyone who reached out with thoughtful advice, especially those who shared their own experiences. Your insight meant a lot. After sitting with everything, I finally had a real talk with my wife. I told her where my head was at and reassured her that she would always come first. I made it clear that I had no intention of playing husband or doing anything that would cross boundaries. I wasn't going to spend the night. I wasn't going to be alone with her. This wasn't a romantic gesture. It was about closure, about kindness. Surprisingly, after our talk, she felt much more at peace with the idea. She even admitted that when my sister first told her, she felt cornered into saying yes. But this time, her blessing felt genuine. With that, I spoke to my sister. It wasn't the smoothest conversation, we had some heated back and forth about expectations, but eventually, she agreed to all the boundaries my wife and I set. A week later, we went to my ex's house. The same one we lived in together over a decade ago. Walking in stirred up memories, but not pain. It felt surreal, sure, but not heartbreaking. And I wasn't angry. My ex was waiting in the living room. The moment she saw me, she broke down in tears. I gave her a hug, and we sat and talked for hours while my sister made lunch. I showed her photos of my kids, shared little stories about who they are becoming. It wasn't romantic, it felt more like catching up with someone you knew in another life. The house looked almost frozen in time. Wedding photos still hung on the walls. Pictures of us still lined the shelves. I didn't say anything, it wasn't my place, but it felt strange. We ate lunch together. Played some board games. Just the three of us, like we used to when we were kids. For a few hours, it felt like stepping back in time, but in a way that gave us all peace, not sadness. I left around 6 p.m. She looked heartbroken when I got up to go, but she didn't make it hard. As I hugged her goodbye, she whispered, "I love you." Then she added, "But I'm happy you found the happiness I couldn't give you." That part hit me. I fought back tears the entire way home. Before I left, she asked if I'd bring my kids next time. I told her I would. That evening, I told my wife everything. Every word, every moment. She was grateful I was so open, and maybe the takeout I brought helped, but she was genuinely happy with how things turned out. And she agreed to let the kids visit next time. Seeing my ex again turned out to be a positive experience. I didn't know how much I needed that until it happened. I don't regret going. Not one bit. And to everyone who advised me, thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Please go easy on my ex. Yes, she made a terrible choice and paid the price. But that doesn't make her a bad person. She was just a flawed human being who made a mistake, and now she's facing the end with humility. This will be my last update. Thank you again for all your kindness, support, and honesty. Top reflections from the community. Commenter 1. You said it from the start, you've moved on. That doesn't mean you can't be there for someone who was once a big part of your life. I'm glad you made the visit. Commenter 2. It really bugged me that people told you not to do it just because there was nothing in it for you. You gave peace to a dying person. That matters. Commenter 3. Honestly, I'm just happy someone on this sub didn't follow the most cynical advice. This story gave me hope.